Hey guys, so yeah, you've just caught me trimming some of my bonsais. Just keeping on top of them, as you do. This is one of my favourites. This is the Chinese elm. I like this one. It's a very fast and vigorous grower. Really easy to keep and look after, the old Chinese elms. Grows like stink though. They really do grow quick. The bits I've just chopped off today, only about a week's worth of growth. But yeah, what I wanted to show some of you guys though, those of you that have been following me for quite a while, will remember back at the beginning of the summer I did some air layering. Now I've had a quick look at the beach this morning, the one that I did the dedicated video on. That's not quite ready yet. Some of the little air layering balls I bought off the Bay of E just to trial, they seem to have done the trick quite nicely. And I don't know if you can see it, but behind me on that bench I've just potted up one of the air layers. So what I'll do, I'll show you that, and then we'll show you the rest of them. Snap back to you in a bizzle. So yeah, there's the first one. I've left it here on the bench for now because it's always best, especially with Acers, once you've cut them off, to leave them in a well lit but shady spot. And as you can see, if I zoom out a little bit, you can see that is not getting any of the sun whatsoever, but it's still nice and daylighted, but well shaded. So that'll sit there for a couple of weeks, let the roots get a bit more established, and then I'll be able to move it out somewhere a bit better. But yeah, cut that off, wide a couple of the branches, how I'm going to want it, and we're good to go. But we've got a couple more. So we've got another black pod, air layering pod on this tree. That's a Chinese Juniper. And then we've got another black pod on top of this Acer, which you'll be able to see actually where I've just cut the other one off, which was just on here. So I've just cut that branch off there where one of the air layers were on. Yeah, I need to find some more decorative stones for this pot, because every day when I come out here, something, I'm guessing birds, has been digging in it, and there is more soil everywhere, and if they're not careful they're going to dig up and mess up my roots. So yeah, I'm going to get some more decorative stones for that, sort that out first. And there we go. Not ideal, but unfortunately when it comes to birds, when they start digging in one flower pot, they come back and back and back. So I'm pretty sure now I've covered that up, they'll find another flower pot to dig in. But they used to rip all that one to pieces, but they're leaving that one alone now, and they keep ripping that one to pieces. So keep swapping them round, but that's a real good way to deter birds from messing with your bonsais. Just get some pebbles, stones, decorative or not, and just pop them around the surface. Probably leave them there for a month or two. The birds will find somewhere else to mess around in them. But anyway, onto the air layers. Right, quick tip when it comes to air layers: when cutting your air layers off, make sure you have a very sharp pair of something, secateurs, scissors, branch cutters, whatever you want, but make sure they are sharp. I use Felco 2s. Now Felco, they are one of the best manufacturers of secateurs. I think these retail around 50 or 60 quid, so they're not cheap, but they're great for bonsai work. But as long as it's something sharp you've got, that's all you need. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to come in here, I'm going to remove this first. Now normally I would say you don't need to remove this first. You can normally chop it off underneath first and then take this off afterwards, but because of the angle this is, I can't get the scissors underneath it because I want to keep the branch that's underneath it still under it. So I'm going to very carefully, if I can, take this out somehow. And you've got to be careful if you have to do it this way, because you don't want to damage obviously any of the roots that have been growing. I'd rather damage the branches around it than damage the roots coming from it. There we go, that's now out. So all these air layer pods are little pods that clip together and you put your soil or sphagnum moss, in my case, inside one of those and let it do its thing. But now that's off, I can get my scissors in here, snip that just below the bulb, and then I'll get this on a close-up and show you in just a... So here we are. So yeah, as I say, it's a lot easier to keep these on and cut it underneath if you've got the room to do so. Otherwise, very carefully remove it, and then you can work on this afterwards. But this is my air layer, and as you can see, I've got an awful lot of lovely roots coming from that. So when you are playing around with air layers, do not let your roots dry out. That's most important. So I'm currently doing this in the shade at the minute, but it is a bit breezy, so it's not overly moist, but moist enough for the moment. So what I'm going to do, the branch that's underneath here, I'm going to try and cut that off as far up the ball as I can, and to do that I'm going to use my concave branch cutters. That's these stainless steel concave branch cutters. Again, not the cheapest bit of kit in the world, but they do the job for what I need for doing my bonsai. And the reason these are good is I can use the sides of them to push the roots out of the way. Don't know if you can see that there. So I've not got any of the roots in there at all, he says, and one falls in. There we go. And then I can snip that there, that pops off, haven't damaged any roots, and that should now sit nicely in a bonsai pot. It's only in training at the minute, so it's not going in a proper bonsai pot, but I will see what pots I've got available to pop it in. So yeah, if these two take really well, I might actually take these up to the show for sale. Not sure yet, but we'll see how well they take. So because of that basis, the other one's in a plastic training pot. I'm going to pop this one into a flower pot. So that can sit there, scoop of soil, and this one's going to be more of an upright tree, so hold it where you want it. And yes, on this occasion I am leaving the sphagnum moss on the root ball. You can try and tease it off, but at this stage the roots are very, very weak is the wrong word, but very, very fragile, because they're all fresh roots only grown within the last month or two. They snap off very, very easily. So what I like to do is, for the rest of this year, you literally leave the moss all on there, the sphagnum moss, and just plant the soil around it. That way the roots will continue to grow out of the moss into the soil, and then next year, when it's more of a bonsai looking tree, you can then repot it into a prettier pot. And once you take off all your bonsai soil, again, if you want to see how I make my own bonsai soil, I'll put the video link at the top of the screen now. Yeah, when you remove all the old bonsai soil next year, you can then remove the sphagnum moss, pop it in some new soil in a new pot, and if you do it at the right time of year, so you're looking at sort of February, March time, just before the leaves open, and when the tree's full of buds, best time of year to repot a deciduous tree, that, and then you'll have a lovely bonsai in a bonsai pot. So here we go, that's all nicely potted on, as you can see. So that will continue to grow, because the roots on this one were actually a lot better than the roots on the other one, but there is a few bits that need to come off there. I'll grab my bonsai scissors, because the art of bonsai is you always want to show the trunk. So first off, I am going to pause you here and have a quick look where I want the front to be. Yeah, so I was pretty bang on with the angle of where I want the front to be. So the front of the tree to the camera now will be there. So what I need to do is, using my bonsai scissors, I need to open it up. The less foliage you have on top of the tree this time of year, the better the roots will grow. Just as the leaves are all starting to die off is a good time of year to take off the foliage, and also when you repot as well. We also want to keep an eye on branch size, for the size of the tree. So take them off, and we'll take all of that off. And there we have opened up the trunk. The rest can be wired or shaped. We'll get the branch cutters in there to just remove that dead stump in the middle. Remember, when cutting Acers as well, there is, like that little stump there is always a bit of dieback, so don't cut it right the way back to the branch. To give you, those that don't know, to give you an idea, the easiest place to show you would be here, because there's a really long internode, which is not ideal for bonsai, but between that set of leaves and that set of leaves that are budding down there, we call the internode. So if I chopped it just under these leaves here, that whole internode would die down to those branches or those leaves that are budding up down there. I don't know how well you can see that, but yeah, there's some leaves budding right at the base of this internode, and if I chopped it just under them leaves, that whole internode section would die. And that's the same with pretty much all Acers. So yeah, just bear that in mind when pruning your Acers. You will get dieback. Once that bit of wood is fully dead, you can cut it right back like I've just done there in the top section, like that. But you'll notice, actually, if I bring it in close, a prune I did earlier this year, look here, where's my fingers, can't see the phone screen, it's too sunny, but you can see there so far it's only died back by about 3 to 4 mil, whereas later on in the year that'll die right the way back to the 2 little buds here, and they'll shoot off new shoots, and then once that's fully dead I'll be able to chop that off and you won't get any more dieback. So there you go, there's another one. Yeah, the last thing this now needs is a bit of watering, so give that some water. Because of the type of bonsai soil I use, again the video link was above earlier in the video, but it's a well draining soil. You'll see obviously I've flooded the flower pot there, but within seconds the water's just draining straight through, which is ideal. And then there's the Juniper. So while we're here, I'm just going to very quickly get this one cut as well. I should be able to cut this one with the bull still on. Get out the old faithful Felco garden shears. Right, so there's our air layer. Hopefully there's some good roots in there. Should have checked that first really, but that's all done. I'm then going to come in with the branch cutters because I don't want any gin at that point, and you don't get an awful lot of dieback from junipers, so I'm going to cut that at a nice angle so it flows well. There we go, and I'll put some wound sealer on there, but that is now the start of a lovely little bonsai as well. So I'll get that wired up all later. It's the only problem with air layers, you can't really do any work on your bonsai until your air layer comes off, so you kind of, although you're getting a free tree out of it, you're delaying the work on the main tree. But yeah, I'll get this cracked open and we'll have a look and see if there's any roots in it. As you can see there are some lovely big roots, but you'll also see there's only half the root ball. The other half unfortunately got stuck in here and I couldn't quite wedge it out, so in the end I had to bite the bullet and just pull it out. The downside is, as I said to you, the roots at this stage are very, very fragile, and here's the end of a lovely big root, and unfortunately that is now snapped off, so we can discard of that. Is there any more? I know there's at least one that snaps. No, I think it was just that one, so we might get away with that. But yeah, so you have to be really, really careful. Note to self, don't pack these that tight. But we do have lots of nice roots coming from there. In fact, now that's half is off, this side wants to fall off as well, which is a bit of a nightmare. So I'm going to detangle this root out of there, and then on this occasion I will remove all the sphagnum moss. And there we go guys, that's a bit fiddly, so please, if you want to remove all the sphagnum moss, be very, very careful. That was the root that was tangled up in it, and they are very, very snappable at this stage. But again, just very quickly to show you, I won't show you the repotting because all it is chucking some soil in a pot. But again, very carefully snip up as high as you can without damaging any of the roots. Right, so we missed all the roots there, that'll do nicely. And then we just need another flower pot with some soil in it. There we go, so that's now in and watered. All I've got to do now is make it again look a bit more like a bonsai. Well, that's what I've cut off the tree. I cut off one main branch that was way too low down. You'll see it. It was on the soil line, and I didn't have ideas of a twin trunk tree for this one, and just a few branches that were either crossing or coming directly at us, and that's about it. So let's show you the tree. At the minute it doesn't look anything special, it looks like a Leylandii tree, the standard evergreen ones we get in this country right now. But once the roots are established in the soil, I'll be able to then get some wire on it and get some movement into that, because I think what I'm going to do with that is very similar to the one I've got over here. This one needs a bit of a prune at the minute, but shift that out of the way. But yeah, this was my semi-cascade, but that's going to be the front of the main tree. My little repair I did for the branch I snapped has obviously worked a treat, because it's still alive and kicking. And then next year, this one, as that was successful, this bit here is going to air layered off, and this will become another tree. But this one I believe is Itoigawa Chinese juniper, so one of the most expensive and nicest ones, and you can tell by the bark. Look, if you look at the bark on that one, it's quite a smooth bark on the main trunk, whereas the one I've just done, quite a rough textured, almost peeling type bark. So yeah, I'm not too sure what type of Chinese juniper that one is, but I was sold this one as an Itoigawa. So yeah, we just need to reshape the pads a little bit, maybe get a bit more wire on some of them branches, and that one is going to be a nice tree this time next year. But yeah, I'll try and get the air layer on this branch a bit earlier next year, so I can take it off a bit earlier in the year. So I'm just restyling and shaping the one that we've just air layered off. It's looking pretty good so far. I'm leaving this one as a back branch because I want this to grow out, and that will become the side branch. And if that doesn't grow, then I've got that one currently as a backup. Who knows, I may even keep the both. But yeah, basically what we're doing when pruning a juniper, just so you guys are aware, it's not like a conifer where you can just go in and snip and shape it the way you want. If you do that, you end up with loads of dead ends, dead tips, and it looks horrible. So what we do with juniper, I'll spin it around just to show you, because I've only got a couple more branches that I'm going to do on this side. We work out roughly where we want the branch to be, and you go into the trunk of the branch and you snip it off like that. Obviously you're not going to get the perfect shape straight away, that comes with time, but again, go into the trunk of the branch and snip that away. So like if I wanted this one to be a bit shorter, I can't just come in and cross all of them little leaves, twigs, whatever you want to call them. You come in to the trunk and chop the whole trunk off. Yeah, that's looking mighty fine, methinks. And that was a £7 bargain from B&Q, that was. And if I bring it down there so you can see it better, it's quite a nice little tree so far. Yeah, just put some cut paste on there, and then that one's done as well. You wouldn't believe it's the middle of September, my birthday tomorrow, and there are hundreds of tomatoes still redding and ripening. It's absolutely crazy. There's still loads of green ones on here, still going red. But we've had a bit of a mini heat wave finally, a week's worth of sun basically, and everything's finally starting to ripen off. But just getting all my bonsais ready for the growing show end of September, so they're all now in trays ready to cart out to the van. Whoop whoop. But yeah, all the bonsais basically on that side of the garden are coming with. May pick up 1 or 2 extra ones when I see what space I've got in the van, but yeah, we've got a good mixture from beech to pines, sycamores, yews, buxus, oaks, a couple of junipers, obviously the stars of the show, although they're the babiest ones I'm taking, the snake bark maples. They're actually growing really fast. I don't know if you remember my video when I brought these back from the allotment, but there certainly wasn't anywhere near, what's that, I'd say 7 or 8 inches. They were all that sort of size when I brought them home from the allotment. So yeah, they're growing well. They're all sorted out. Some unfortunately not them, although there was a couple that didn't make it, but some unfortunately of the pines didn't make the repotting. You've got that one there, that one there. Them 2 pines didn't survive a repotting. There's a buxus there that seems to have lost all its leaves, so again he won't be coming. One of the larger pines, one of the Scots pines, as you can see there, he didn't quite make it. So yeah, when repotting, as I've said before, do check on the time of year that's suitable for the tree you're about to repot, because it does make a difference, and this time of year is not really suitable for what I've repotted. But yeah, I know what I'm doing. I've been as careful as I can, and they've worked an absolute treat. But once the pond's finished and all these bonsais are moved out of the way and everything, I will get up there and tackle that air layer that I've done on my neighbour's olive tree, and we will see if that's done any good. Yeah, now's the best time of year to check your air layers and get them cut, if possible. Obviously the beech one isn't quite ready yet, so I can't chop that just yet. But basically what you don't want to happen is a frost get to the bag of roots, because if that happens and the roots freeze, the tree might not necessarily die, but all the roots that are in there will die. You might get more regrowing possibly. You don't want to kill all your roots off with a frost. So September, end of September, sort of last chance really to get your air layers all snipped off. So another little tip for you there, guys. We're even getting a second flush of strawberries. Look at the size of that one. Very strange for this time of year. Yeah, and don't forget, I'll be bringing my bonsai tools with me to the growing show. So if you have a tree that needs a bit of a haircut, bit of a prune, or even a bit of a restyle, bring it down, give you some ideas, or even if I've got time, do it for you. So yeah, on that note, guys, please give the video a like, and let me know what you thought of this video down in the comment section below. Hit that subscribe button and the bell notification, and then YouTube will tell you when my next video comes out. So thanks all for watching, and we will catch you all on the next one.